All right, so I have this type in Photoshop that all comes from my vector type from Adobe Illustrator. You see how it's a smart object, the black type. So I'm building on top of it. And at any time, I can add layer styles to it. And I can add like a drop shadow to it if I want. To like help these things kind of show up. And that can be helpful. And I can make that a color rather than black. I mean, you just have so many options. It's a little bit like option paralysis. But the idea is to set it up in a smart way so that your type is always editable and clean. I think it's the outer glow I'm not loving. There we go. And that your spot illustration is also a smart object, right? So I'm going to lock those. And now I'm going to make a change to the type. I'm going to make a duplicate of it. And I'm going to copy this rainbow layer style and paste it in. And then I'm going to set that to normal mode. And I'm going to set it to very faint. Set this to normal mode. There we go. Now take this and play with its blending mode. So there's just all kinds of ways. I just wanted to make it a little bit brighter. Let's see which one. And then take its opacity down. Oh, it's because it's on divide, I see. So there we go. So now I have kind of my color. Let me rasterize that layer style and maybe make it dissolve. Then move that under. I mean, there's just so many ways to mess with this, right, that you can have fun with. There we go. That's about what I want. Now I want to color inside the letters, just like I did with my line art in digital coloring. So what I'm going to do is go all the way back to my black type, right? And just like I did with digital coloring before, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to rasterize it. And I'm going to turn off the layer style on it, right? And I'm going to call this type color fill, just like flat color. And what do? They're all enclosed. I'm just going to use my paint bucket. And my tablet is not working. Oh, it's working very slow. All right, I'm going to avoid the tablet for a while. I'm going to use my paint bucket, and I'm going to hold down Option and pick a color, and then just drop it in to my outline type. Okay, so this horse is on fire. And because that is its own layer, I can also add effects to it. So I can do internal strokes. I'm going to make this one darker. Right? And then I'm going to expand it. And if I don't want it hard-edged, I can do it soft-edged. I can do what's called an inner shadow. And kind of blend it. So you just have lots of ways to modify your type with layers and layers. Come on. Show me what you're doing. There we go. Just to get that to show up. And I want it to be a little noisy, a little broken up. Like that. Yeah, I like that. So this horse is on fire. Let's make it even bigger. Let's fill in the whole thing. There we go. And I just don't love that gradient, so let me play with it. Just want to soften it, because remember you can adjust this at any time. I'm going to add a color, make that a transition between the blue and the cyan, like that. And that should help soften that hard edge. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Let's do that same thing here. I think it's, yeah. And you can play with all of the opacities. Take the drop shadow. So now I just need a background. So I'm going to save that. And I'm going to save my color type, right? So I'm going to turn off the background. This is the second requirement. Show the color variation of your type. Save this as a JPEG. Color vector type to the desktop as a JPEG. Good, and now I get to do a colored background or some sort of textured background. I don't want it to be just one flat color, but I could do it with a gradient. So I could do that with layer styles, right? I can do it with a combination. I can do it with compositing, which is kind of my preferred way to work with it. So I found some of these textures, just Creative Commons textures. I can bring them in. If you remember compositing from early on in the semester, we're just going to play with these kind of assets. And they just go behind. And I got them fairly high resolution, but they don't need to be perfectly high because backgrounds tend to be soft anyway. And then, how do I get the border? This is how. I'm going to unlock the background layer and this layer, right? Turn off all the effects so you can see it clearly. This layer. And I'm going to duplicate both of them, Command J, then I'm going to merge them. Merge those two layers. And then I'm simply going to select the gray and delete it. So now what this gives me is a white border that I can move on top of other layers. And this really can go on top of everything or just on top of the background. Yeah. So much that I can do. Okay, now let's play with another composite element. How about just a basic kind of paper texture? Bring that in. Stretch it over everything. Maybe something like that. And then I can play with blending it. And I like soft light. I like pin light. You know, these can be nice features. And I can play with opacity. So I get kind of that wallpapery texture coming through the paper texture. Kind of looks like a street art background. And then I have this other one of torn paper. Bring that in. I don't love having the text in the background, so let me pan to where that text isn't an issue. I can stretch it. Trying to get that black contrast out of there. There we go. And then I can play with its opacity or its blending mode. Let's try linear light. And you see I get all those different things kind of coming through. So lots and lots of options. I can also add things like a drop shadow to my creature if I want to. That's its own smart object. So I think this is going to be my finished poster for now, right? Later I'll show you how we can use color separation for that. And for now, that's good. So I save it as my PSD. And then I save it as a JPEG. And this will be my final requirement. This is the full poster, full color poster with background and border as a JPEG to the desktop so that I can put it into assignment 6. So I have 2 more things to add. The color type, and then the final poster. So once you get that black vector type, the other stuff can go pretty quick. There it is. These are both, I mark orange, they're both online formats. And then requirement 3 is the full color poster with border. And I'm going to call it a varied background. So I just don't want you to do a solid color background just because those don't print very well. So a varied background. At least give it a gradient, if not texture. And a white border of some sort. And this can be one of your portfolio pieces for the semester. These are also really good submissions for the student art show in the spring, your posters. And of course, this is just the submission, our last day of working on it, our day when it's due by 11:59 tonight. I have lab hours after class, right? Still, several improvements can be made, and I can see like little things I still want to tweak. But there's what's called deadline style. First, you got to make it exist, and then you can make it perfect. So these are the 3 requirements: black vector type, color type, and then full poster. Make sense? And then if you saved this as a PNG, because you really liked it, that could go to Redbubble, that could be a t-shirt, that could be a sticker, that could be all kinds of things too. All right.